I recently visited AW Lymn, the family funeral service in Nottingham, and their fantastic fleet of nearly 40 different Rolls-Royces. But I also had the opportunity to take their Phantom 8 out for a drive. So here is the answer to the question that no one asks. What is it like driving a funeral spec Rolls-Royce Phantom 8?
Welcome back to Resto Revolver. I'm your host Will. Let's get into it. Right, where's the gear lever?
Literally there, yeah, so put your foot on, that's it.
That's it?
And
parking brake?
It will go off automatically. And away you go.
This is... I'm nervous.
Nah,
I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous, she's fine. It's just a car.
It's very, very life-ruiningly expensive.
It'll be fine.
It's so smooth. The steering wheel controls are so light.
Yeah, it's very effortlessly to drive.
Right, this is the first problem. The bonnet feels about 600 metres away from me. Okay, look at this. I imagine you get let out quite easily around here.
Well, especially when you've got Hearth and 10 cars behind.
Well, is that an unspoken rule that you obviously don't?
Generally speaking, yeah, if you're in procession, most people will let the cars stay together. You do get the odd few, which...
I was going to say, have you been in those situations where like a random person gets
caught out
in the middle?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's like something people would be worried about. I see what you mean. For such a big car, I thought you'd feel like an absolute barge. And it kind of does, but at the same time.
Yeah, you do get very, very used to them.
Yeah.
And you can chuck them around still.
Yeah.
They still handle really well. This has got rear wheel steer as well, so it goes around corners quite well.
Yeah. Heads up display. This is just... You've also got like the starlights in the ceiling as well.
Yeah, so you've got your heated seat on, and you'll notice that your elbows and also your arm on the other side, if you've got it on the lower armrest, will be getting warm as well.
This is...
Don't want your arms getting cold.
Oh, I'm feeling the heated steering wheel as well now. This is like quiet luxury, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I suppose Rolls-Royce to a T.
That's what you want.
Yeah. It just glides, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
To think there's a twin turbo V12.
Yep, and when you plant it,
yeah, well,
she does go.
Not sure how much we can do of that in city centre Nottingham, but
we've got a little bit of a stretch up there. We can open her up.
But it could almost be electric, couldn't it?
It is silent.
It's so isolating in here, which again is the Rolls-Royce way, right?
Definitely, you just want to be sitting in your back with your glass of champagne.
I was going to say, the default position in Rolls-Royce is
getting a massage.
To be in the back, isn't it?
In fact, you haven't put your massage seat on.
No, I haven't.
It's just down here on this door.
Oh, of course. You can just tickle the throttle and you just get that reminder of what's under the bonnet.
You can see yourself driving one on the daily.
Oh, if I had the money, I don't know, maybe this is too far. But obviously a funeral car, it ticks the box.
Yeah,
this level of new Rolls-Royce to me, I don't know, it feels a little bit show-offy.
Yeah, it's a statement.
It is, and I'm not really a statement person. I wear shorts, 12 months of the year. I don't really care what people think about me, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you've got a very similar idea to me. I appreciate the level of engineering and like the ability of the car.
Yeah.
But in terms of would I ever own one, I think I would save half the money and buy myself a Maybach if I was going to buy anything.
I'd go older. I'd go older Rolls-Royce or Bentley. Like the Charm era.
Yes, yeah.
But it's not. I don't like the idea of sitting in a car where it's saying to other people, "Look at me." That's not me. That makes me feel quite uncomfortable. But like old school Charm, definitely. What are they like to maintain then? The Phantom 7 and the Phantom 8.
Expensive, and they're getting more expensive by the day.
Yeah.
Rolls-Royce just seem to be upping their prices for no apparent reason whatsoever. Very easy to work on from my point of view. I've been working on them for nearly 10 years now.
So do you maintain them?
So we do. We have our own in-house garage.
Yeah.
We turn in left here. We have our own in-house garage, and we do everything from engine rebuilds on them to whatever needs doing. We've got our own body shops which we use to repaint them, because a lot of the times we buy them, they're black.
Yeah.
They're not in our company colours.
Yeah.
So we get them repainted. But yeah, we do any mechanical work on them is all done in house.
And then from the expense perspective is just Rolls-Royce genuine parts.
Yes, yeah. I mean, some stuff I can buy from BMW. I can cross-reference part numbers from 7 Series to Phantom.
Yeah.
But a lot
Armstrong way.
Yeah, but a lot of the Phantom parts are different.
Yeah.
So you can open her up a little bit down here because there's no cameras and it's straight bare road. And she just wafts along.
It almost doesn't feel right for something this big and luxurious to just shove you along the road like it does whilst I'm getting a massage. Yeah. It's quite the machine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you found the Phantom 7 reliable then?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we are up and down the country every single day.
Yeah.
One day we could be in Cornwall, next we could be in Ireland, next we could be in Scotland.
Yeah.
We've been Germany, Amsterdam, you name it, we've been there.
Yeah.
With all of our cars. So obviously we have to make sure that they get there and back. More importantly there. But yeah, so we do have incidents. We call them failure to proceeds and not breakdowns.
Right.
Very
diplomatic way of putting it.
So we obviously they're mechanical. You're going to have a flat tyre here and an alternator go there. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of our Phantom 7 fleet are high mileage. Like they're all up there now in the 150,000s.
Really? Wow.
But we have no troubles with jumping in one and going tomorrow to top end of Scotland.
Well, I was going to say, because they're so well maintained, I imagine mileage is almost irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, I recently just sold one to a chap who's quite local to us actually, and he rung up and said, I want a Phantom 7. What have you got? And I said, well, come have a look.
Which one do you want?
Yeah, come have a look. So he came down. He said he wanted a black dash, black leather, blah 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 blah. Picked one out of the fleet that he wanted, and that one that he's bought is 100 and I think that's on about 155, 160. And like I said to him when he bought it, I said, please use it.
Yeah.
Because the car is used to being used day in, day out. It's been through snow, it's been through mud.
Yeah.
You know, it gets used.
Yeah.
If you want to pop to Sainsbury's, use it.
Yeah.
You know, when they start to sit, they don't like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially with,
And I think because our fleet is out every day, I think it probably does help them.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Cars are meant to be driven, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The problems with, especially luxury cars, electrical issues will start to go wrong if the battery starts to go and you're not being used.
That is a main problem that we do have, which is why all of our cars are left on trickle charge overnight.
Makes sense.
To try and stop the joys of coming in the morning and the battery being flat when it's needed on a funeral. So.
Yeah, of course, that's the last thing you want. We briefly earlier spoke off camera in terms of your role and managing the fleet.
The stainless line.
I imagine it's a mix between being a privilege because of the quality of cars that you're looking after, but there's also pressure that comes with that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if the client wants that particular car and that particular car doesn't want to play ball one day, then one way or another I've got to make it work.
Yeah.
We do have accidents. The cars are on the road most of the time.
Yeah.
We haven't got bubble wrap all around us. They do get dinged and dented, and they do break down. So it's hard, but we make it work.
I imagine you have a lot of different days. I can't imagine.
No 2 days in this job is the same.
Yes.
I mean, one day, like yesterday, I was out in 1938 car, probably did around 80, 90 miles in it, going through the Leicestershire countryside for a particular client on a funeral.
Yeah.
And then the next day I might be dropping the engine out of a Rolls-Royce Phantom 7 or doing the brakes on a Rolls-Royce Phantom 6, or no 2 days are the same. Or I mean, because I'm even involved with buying and selling the car, so I might be selling a car, I might be going to buy a car, going to look at a car, and we also do outside work as well. So we will take on other Rolls-Royce and Bentleys. We do other brands as well,
right?
Because obviously, as my department as a whole, just costs the company money, because all I do is spend their money on fixing their cars. So at the same time, if I can make a little bit of money back for the company by doing some outside work and outsourcing some work, and it's always good to try and bring that extra bit of money in.
Yeah, well, that's what's quite interesting that I've learnt today, speaking with Nigel, talking about the license plates and the buying and selling cars. It's almost like a supplementary revenue stream, to complement the business. Yeah,
definitely. Like I say, they're an expensive fleet to maintain.
Yeah.
And if we can make a little bit of money on buying a number plate and selling a number plate or whatever, then it all helps to be able to give the client that end result at the end.
Yeah.
And having these luxurious cars take them on a funeral.
It's funny because this just doesn't feel like what I would have expected in a quote-unquote V12 experience.
Silence.
Yeah, it's just this could be a straight 6. It could be, I don't know, like a really old lazy V8. It could be electric, it could be hybrid. It just, it's such a glider.
Yeah, I mean, I always love the fact that they don't give you a rev counter, instead they give you a power reserve gauge.
Yeah.
So you currently have 90% of your power left.
Good. What is that actually telling me? I don't know. But
I'm not sure. I think it's telling you you're not driving fast enough.
Yeah, possibly. Well, thank you for today.
No problems.
Thank you for letting me loose on your...
No problems at all. Hopefully you've enjoyed it.
Oh, I've loved it.
It's not every day you get to drive a nice Rolls-Royce Phantom 8.
No, not every day at all. It's been a lovely experience. So, thank you for letting me tell the story of the business and the story of your fleet.
No problems, anytime. Just sort of park it back up and I can move it, it's fine.
That's fine. Do you want me to park it at the same angle?
It's fine, whatever you want to do.
Right.
So you'll have to push it towards you, that's it, pull out.
There we go, I'm learning already. Is it this sort of angle?
A little bit more. I can move it anyway, it's fine. About there, if you just straighten out.
Yeah.
Somewhere around about there.
Okay. Look at that.
That'll do you.
Perfect.
And then just push that little button in at the end. That's it, and that's parked.
Okay. Great stuff. Well, thanks for your time.
No problems.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, subscribe and I'll see you next time. Great stuff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh,
that's right.
a bit too big.
Then.